your head. You're gonna have in your head. Big filler. Your third eye. Why?
Yeah, quit fucking with them other dudes. They lame as fuck, just some bad news. Yeah, I know you got that good. Complain, bitch, get it understood. Blowing through these backwoods. Oh, you know what it is. You can smoke on that mist, you can smoke on this dick. Smoking on thrash, bitch, you know where it's at. About to have you coming over for a little nightcap. And bet little mama, you gon' love that. But tomorrow that pussy is gonna be right back. But another still girl, I'm married to the streets. So I ain't got time to be laid up in them sheets. So when I wake up, first thing I see is green. Serving this dope ain't fun in the 3. And I should be pimping these hoes for a G. And I don't give a fuck, bring that profit back to me.
I ain't on nobody's son but my baby, what's up with you?
sounds a lot different on the stream, believe me.
Oh, I believe it.
don't do that well. So yeah, just kind of what we've been working on. Fucking technically, you're the first actual like guest episode. We did one, you know, just us explaining what it was with Steve and stuff, and then I was not sure who was gonna be first. I was gonna say you can scoot up in and just shot. I can move the camera if you want. Let me get you a stand real quick. Yo, fucking shower for all I But yeah, fucking. So it's the first fucking guest we actually have. My fucking wrist is all tore up.
Well, this doesn't have to be the last one.
Oh no, definitely not. This is kind of, we're trying to make this an ongoing thing. We put too much goddamn work into setting this all up.
Oh yeah, it's an elaborate fucking setup with your fucking camera all the way up there and all of your shit.
Like, dude, I've been beating my head against every wall, like at every step of the way, because like, you know, I'm no expert or trained or anything, but I know decent enough about recording audio and, you know, live sound and all that. Mm-hmm. So, like, that aspect, I kind of already knew what was going on to an extent, but then hooking it into the computer.
Because all of your shit's going through that interface, isn't it?
Yeah, so basically, you know, we got the mics on the cabs. That EAD, that's what I was going to tell you. The whole drum set's just one microphone. It's right there on the rim of the fucking kick drum.
That's fucking awesome.
It's 2 cardioid condenser mics in the unit, plus it's got a kick trigger in it. And then that little, you know, module, like it looks like a head for like an electric drum set. Uh-huh. It's essentially the same thing, but it's got a lot more shit it can do. Like it can act as its own interface. It can, it's got this app you can like basically, it'll put your audio and video together and like sync it for you, and there's a whole bunch of shit that I really don't even use on it because I don't really need to right now. Like I said, I've got all these cameras and shit, so I don't really need the app. But yeah, that thing, that EAD is actually what kind of got this whole idea kind of started. I was gonna just do like drum videos and drum streams, and as we kept just kind of adding to the whole thing, I was like, dude, I swear, I'm pretty sure I could just use all those inputs on an interface if I could figure out how to get it hooked up to OBS. And that was another fucking nightmare, dude, because I never had messed with any kind of streaming software or anything like that. So I had to completely learn how to use this program.
It's fucking cool.
From the ground up, and like, it was definitely a pain in the ass, but the thing is now we're going to be live streaming at Buzzbin. I already knew how to do all this. Uh-huh. And that board they got, it is the interface. So essentially everything that's going on the board is going into the live stream.
It's going to go straight into the live. So same thing like if it was going to the front of house.
Well,
it's going to be going straight into the live stream.
Well, the cool thing about those PreSonus boards is, so I've got the main mix for what comes out of the speakers at Buzzbin, and then I've set up what's called a matrix mix, and what that does is it's a whole separate mix from the same inputs, just going to a different out. It's a USB out instead of just like speaker out.
Gotcha.
So when I'm dialing the live stream in, it doesn't affect what's coming out of the mains. So I can do the live stream and the actual live show separately.
Separate. See, that's real convenient because otherwise you're going to be trying to mix for the front of house. Right. It's going to sound all fucked up in this mix. Or you're going to be mixing for this. And it's going to be fucked up in the front of house. So to be able to keep those separate is super cool.
Yeah, that was one of the hurdles I had to kind of jump through and figure out how to do to get that set up, because you know the main system's already set up to go through the mains, and you have to learn how to like set those matrix mixes and then how to actually use them. And like, dude, that from the time when I first started working at Buzzbin till now, that board is like if you would have worked there before and then went and tried to use it now, you'd probably get lost.
Oh,
like I'm pretty sure Travis is going to be lost the next time he gets on it because he hasn't been running sound like he usually does, and I've been doing a lot of work on that thing. And
oh yeah, no, and when I saw that you were running sound up there, I was impressed. I was like, that's really cool. Because Travis is the one who was mostly doing it, and then otherwise sometimes you have Steve doing it. But he was a little bit fewer and further between.
Yeah, he had just kind of like got back into the whole mix of shit because, you know, he was there before and then left for a while, and then when he came back, they had a whole new mixer, a whole new system basically, and Steve's he's a great sound guy. He just isn't familiar with those new digital boards.
The new digital boards.
Because they are a lot. There's a lot.
It's a lot. Then they're programmable and all sorts of fun shit.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I told Chris, like, when I first started, well, not when I first started, but like once I was there for a minute, I was like, dude, he had said something about like, this is a $5,000, oh yeah, you're good.
Right.
He was like, this is a $5,000 mixer, I just feel like it should sound better than this. And I was like, well, yeah, man, I mean, it hasn't been set up yet. Like, it's the bare essentials. Basically, you got the audio coming out of the speakers, and that was it. There's all kinds of onboard compressors and
Well, so is it all different from it's the same board as what it was down south, right?
Oh, you mean here?
I mean up top. I mean up north in Kenmore.
Yeah,
they took the same board and everything. I got a letter.
Yeah, it's relative. I don't think they've had that board, but maybe a year or two. They used to have a different one, and then I think Chris was able to get basically a loan or grant. I don't know,
something like that. Yeah,
something to put into the business, and that was one thing they wanted to do was improve the sound system.
Well, hell, too, with as much as Chris fucking buys, sells, and trades shit just as much as I do.
Right.
You know.
But, you know, that pre-Sunset Studio Live Series 3 ones, those are pretty much the best fucking digital mixers you can get right now. I mean, the only better you can get is just bigger ones. Like, you can get the 64-channel one, but obviously...
You're getting all the same... You're getting all the same details and the things that come with it. It's just more.
Yeah, it's basically just a bigger control surface. But even at that, you can get up to I think like 190 like actual like ADD mixes in there. So like, it's complicated as fuck. And I won't say I fully understand it to that extent. I know I got the 32, in right there like normal. I can deal with that. But if it came down to it, like now. With what I know, with those like matrix mixes and shit, say Buzzbin was able to get a green room or, okay, so we got the main speakers and then there was a green room and then maybe some outside PA speakers. I can make it to where the whole system's playing like the house music through all of them, but in the green room, I can use the talkback mic and be like, hey, on stage in 5 minutes, and only the green room.
And only so you'll have separate inputs for the separate.
Basically, a different
outputs.
Mix,
yeah,
a different mix for each area. However, you kind of want to set it up.
So that way, like, yeah. So I haven't actually been exploring in the new Buzzbin, but short of just like the area that we can see, there really is no space for green room. There's no downstairs, is there?
No, there's no downstairs, and then. The upstairs is like basically
apartments and shit.
No, it needs just put back together. It needs renovated. Like it's just not suitable to run a business out of. It needs like cleaned up. Flooring, basically the whole nine, just renovated. But the structure's there, and I guess the landlord is interested in making the whole building usable. It's just gotta
time
and
the effort,
one step at a time kind of thing. Because he was super excited about having Buzzbin be there. He was all about it, and I guess he also owns the next door building that is connected to it too. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's an old fucking just needs renovated theater, dude.
So that's what I heard is. Julia says that if possible, they'd really love to knock down some walls.
Yeah.
The problem with those buildings is...
Those are all load-bearing fucking walls.
It's load-bearing walls, and the buildings are all historic and old. So the zoning and all of that, like the neighborhood's historical society, whatever the fuck it is up there.
It would just be a
process. It'd be a whole ass process, and...
Well,
I mean,
and the thing
I don't know. I don't want to blow up their whole thing on Maine right now, but I guess it's not that big a deal. Julia says that she thinks that maybe it's going to... Buzzbin might just be a name that moves.
Yeah,
so
basically, if need be, it's not like that's not the intention, but it's like, basically, if some bullshit happens here too, it's where we gotta move, we're just gonna move again, you know?
Well, and I hate to say it that way, but you're right.
It's always just some bullshit.
It's always just some bullshit.
Because they fucking, people don't realize how much they just don't get out of all that. Like, they're not making a bunch of fucking money, dude. They pay the bills and
that's the thing that I think that they both kind of they lucked out on and also kind of got shit on, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
they bought the rights to the Buzzbin name, and I thought that they owned the actual. I thought that they owned it a lot later than, or I thought they owned it a lot earlier than they actually did, because I found out that they didn't actually even buy the name until 2019. I thought they owned it at least a few years before. But then it's more fucked up because they don't actually own the building. So the original building that everyone associates, like, I still call the heart-shaped box.
We all do.
But you
can't help it.
You can't help it. And that being said, it very much was, because that was the start. That was the place where there's a lot of history there or whatever. So I think it's cool that they're keeping the spirit of it alive in the sense of, even if it's not some bullshit, but they just decide they find a better location, they pick up and move.
It's their business. They can do whatever the fuck they want.
They're trying to generate a culture as opposed to just like it being relegated to one specific bar.
Well, that's the thing. When you see, but you could find Buzzbin anywhere, but it's always going to be badass. It's basically the idea, and you know, who knows? Maybe eventually, if shit starts rolling good, there might be more than one Buzzbin. You know.
It'd be cool if they could keep the name down south too, just for the history of it all. But man, I heard that it's like no live music at the heart-shaped box.
Yeah, they're not allowed.
I showed up one day
with an acoustic guitar, and they were like, no.
With an acoustic and my banjo. Well, I played, but I guess Travis got in trouble for that.
Yeah, they can get evicted like immediately for live music, which I don't understand. How the fuck are they allowed to use the studio then?
It's the tenants upstairs that bitch, and it's the difference between live music and the studio. So the studio, it's not very soundproof, but it's kind of soundproof.
I feel like somebody with an acoustic guitar would be less, like, you know, in the bar, would be less disruptive than somebody recording drums in the fucking studio.
So when I was in Nomad and we were recording in the rec room, like, I don't remember who it was, I'm pretty sure it was Aaron, came in and was bitching that even through the walls of the studio we were vibrating bottles, like almost off of the bar.
Nomad's loud though, like
Nomad's very fucking loud. I mean, this is basically I've acquired a few different pedals, but that's essentially the same board that I was using for Nomad stuff when I was still with them.
You got quite the control panel sitting there, dude.
Well, it's definitely not as big as Kyle's, but I like to think that I'm good at shaping the sound with the pedals that I have at my disposal.
Right, especially when you're not on somebody else's fucking rig. Like, I could tell you were like, what the fuck? Why does it sound like that? A couple times, because
there were a couple times too. So I'm used to having the EQ on my amp dialed really bass heavy.
I could probably, dude. I have the EQ all the way turned off on that because last time I was using it, I don't think I was doing anything with it really. So
it's funny because I brought my white Thunderbird, the one I usually play, but I actually brought this out, and this is the first time I've ever actually brought this bass out anywhere. It doesn't.
Yeah, dude, I'm pretty sure.
It doesn't even have fucking strap buttons. It does have strap buttons, but it used to have strap locks on it, and then this thing has never left the house before. And this is the first one I have. I bought a second. I traded up for a second one.
Diddle around on it?
Diddle around, by all means.
I'm not going to turn it up or anything. I don't want to like blast the talking mic. I don't know if I showed you, but this right here. This is the mic.
It should be pretty quiet if you try and fiddle with it.
This is the mic that's listening to us talk now.
I was wondering if it was that or if it was just this one.
Oh no, this is a little thing I did.
You can pick it up and
fucking this was a shitty little wireless microphone that came with this Rockville speaker. It only connected to the Rockville, so I never used it. And I was like, you know what? I'll take the bitch apart and see what two wires. Just solder it to a fucking XLR out. It works.
Fuck yeah.
Like, me and him have been getting really into soldering and that electrical shit because, you know, it's just...
It's a good skill to have, man.
You know, and that's why we have a spool cable over there. Like, Chris, like, he didn't give it to me. I was like, if you'll let me take that to my spot so I can get good at this, I can like wire the entire sound system to where we don't have to plug or unplug anything in ever again. And he was kind of, I love these basses, dude. Like I said, I got the same, but mine is not nearly as set up, and the strings are so old, it grinds you up.
Those are the strings that I bought with that bass. So I traded. That's the thing I do is I just trade. I get on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, and I just trade. So it's funny. I bought a PV Windsor amp head from a guy in Cleveland. And then I played it for a little while, and then I traded that amp to your cousin. I was telling you about this the other night. I traded that amp to your cousin for 2 Squier basses, and then
my brother.
What did I say? Your cousin?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, your brother. Your brother Jimmy. I traded the amp head to your brother for 2 Squier basses, and then I traded the nicer of those 2 basses up for a second one of those. So I now have 2 of those basses. I'm trying to fucking keep trading up, or maybe sell it for cash and pay my fucking rent. But they're damn nice basses.
My uncle, he's a guitar player, and he like builds guitars and shit. And basically, when I got it, it needed set up bad. It needed set up bad. That's part of the reason why I got it so cheap from Guitar Center. They were like, and I mean, it was a while ago, but at the same time, they had it there used, good condition, $450.
Oh yeah.
I basically was like, I got $450 on me. Like, I can't paint it. I can give you $450, and they were like, sweet. We're gonna take it in the back and set it up a little for you. It comes back even worse than when it went. I was like, it's fine. I was already planning on going to get. I didn't tell him that, but I was already planning on going to get it actually set up. So I wasn't worried about it.
Well, so that's the one that I've had for a long time, and I decided to bring that one versus the one that I just got because the one that I just got has brand spanking new strings on it, but they're like super turbo ultra light strings. And usually
like a fucking D string down here, like a guitar D string.
It's very light strings, and it's still in standard tuning. But I actually haven't. When it comes to basses, I'm that guy who never changes his fucking strings. James Jamerson, he's a really famous session bassist. I think he played with James Brown, a few other funk projects back in like the 70s. Really prolific bass player. He said that the gunk holds the funk. Like when you're playing round wound strings, I don't like the sound of brand new, fresh round wound strings. I think they sound just tinny and.
It really depends on what you're going for too, because basically, it's kind of like with drums. A lot of people, have you ever heard people say, "Oh, if you got to put moon gels on your shit, you don't know how to keep it hit." Now the thing is I
there's also the other side of the spectrum where people have 8 of those little fucking things around every head.
That's different. That means either like it doesn't want to be tuned that way. Either try changing your bottom head if you're going for that feel. If it feels good, try adjusting the bottom head to make it.
I know they're for dampening too. But
well, that's what I was actually gonna say was me when I'm like, especially when I'm recording, I like my drums to be really dry. So you can like kind of add some of the, add some reverb and little different things you can do to give it that. I just like working with a really dry drum set.
Yeah.
So that I can you can bring all that resonance back up in the mix. If you're recording it, it's an EQ and a compressor, and you can use an expander on it. There's all kinds of things you can do because it's still there. And that's what I was gonna say is like when I'm in the studio, I'll put a little bit of duct tape on the heads, and that's another thing is I don't just fucking slap it on there. I actually will move my hand around the head and hit it.
You'll try and get a
find
good
where
placement.
because and that's another thing is a lot of people, they use drum dials and their drums still sound like shit because they don't understand like what they're actually doing. They're just like, oh, the numbers all match, it must be tuned. It's like, nah, dude, that's not really how it works. Number one, as you hit a drum, it's not going to evenly untune. Number one. So, you know, because where you hit it, they untune a lot quicker, like on the side that you're hitting them on as opposed to the other side. So I tend to try to tune the closest lugs to me a little higher than the bottom ones.
To kind of account for...
So by the end of the set, it kind of balanced itself out instead of got way out of whack. You know what I mean? And it's not like I tune them to where they're out of whack and come to me. You know, there's nothing you can do. No matter how nice your drum set is, it's going to be out of tune. Not as in tune as it was when you started.
I promise I'm not trying to be that dick who's like,
oh no, you're fine.
But
man.
I just got a phone call, so instead of calling back, I'm trying to just...
We can take a little break.
Well, I'm trying to share this episode as it's live.
Oh yeah, that was another thing is if I would have promoted it at least a little bit, but you saw like when you got here, I had basically just got here. I was like cleaning up, trying to set back up because up there at Buzzman, me and my brother went up there because I'm trying to get all that shit set up like really nice. And like I was telling you earlier, it's really hard to fucking be a sound guy when you're the drummer and sound guy at the same time. Like it's almost impossible to really, because the other day we were jamming there, me and Chris and shit, and when I'm sitting there back behind the drum set, the only thing I really have to go off of to tell if the drums or if the whole thing's loud or not is just look at the level on the names. Because I've got the tablet set up so I have a remote control for the board. So I'm sitting behind the drum set hitting my kick drum. All I can really do is make sure it's not peaking and gonna blow the amps. So I just kind of give myself a lot of headroom and I'm like, it sounds good out there. We jammed out and when we got done I was like, hey Chris, can you like stand out there and let me know how it sounds like, because I don't have a good idea. He's like, yeah, sure. And I just start getting down and he was like, holy shit, dude, you're like caving my chest in already. Like, I was like, that's where it's been the whole time we've been jamming. He was like, that's way different out here. I'm like, yeah, dude, those 6 subs will do that. Like,
dude, that's what I was saying when I was there the last time. Is as if the PA system wasn't already like below your fucking face off at the down south location. Now it's all of those speakers, but in about half the size of a bar, and it doesn't matter how far back you're standing, dude. That PA will fuck you up.
Well, and that's another thing. Like, now that I've gotten time to properly not even properly, because there's still a bunch of shit that I should and will do when I get the time in between everything, but like, dude, there's so much shit that was like, there was limiters set on like, there was shit that nobody was even aware of, which Travis was the only sound guy for a long time, but he never went and dialed the system in at all. Like the one day, me, Jimmy, and Steve went in there, it was like an off day, there was nothing going on. And I was like, Steve, you want me to get my brother and you want to just go jam and like fuck with the sound system? Because that's how you find out what the fuck's going on. And we were always getting complaints from the drummer, like, I can't fucking hear my monitor, can't ever hear my monitor. And we're like, dude, we have it cranked as high as it'll go.
You're fucking peaking the slider. It
just wasn't even peaking, and we tried, we didn't realize there was a limiter set on it at some point because, I was kind of new there. Travis, he said he wouldn't have done it, but he might have accidentally did it, not thinking he was on a different channel or whatever. Shit happens.
Yeah.
But basically, we were sitting there. But yeah, me and Jimmy and Steve were sitting there just kind of plugging shit in, and my brother started playing the bass. He had the bass, and as soon as he would like give it any kind of balls at all, it was this like scratchy, breaking up, just shitty sound. And it was like really, he would like play soft, but as soon as he'd start going loud, and we were like, and Travis was the first, because he was like walking past the bar, he was like, what the fuck's that noise? And I'm like, I don't fucking know, dude, that's why we're doing this, so we can find out what the fuck's going on. Like,
test run.
Yeah, I'm having fun. I'm jamming, but this is actually like for a reason. because I want to know what the fuck is going on. And during a show and during a band's performance is not the time to figure out what the fuck's going on. But
were you there for the Weed Eater show at the old Buzzman?
It was one of the last ones, like, or close. No, wait, Weed Eater.
That was in September of last year.
Was that like? Was that before or after the I Hate God show?
Before. It was way before.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't at that one. I might not see. That's another thing is I ain't been kind of like hanging around as long as everybody else has either. I just kind of came back around.
Honestly, I mean, me too. Like,
I'm really still the new guy, you know.
Every time Kyle and Nick would be like, "Come to fucking Buzzman, come to fucking Buzzman," I'm like, "Sorry guys, I work a real job, so like I just don't fucking."
So I can't afford beer.
Yeah, I can't afford the drinks. That was before I got heavy into drinking anyway, or back into drinking. But and it's just I can't go to Buzzman 6 nights a fucking week, especially if nothing's going on. So it was only like kind of right at the end of its life that I started hanging out there again. But I used to hang out there a lot when it was the OG Buzzman. Like when beside the heart-shaped box, how it is now, that was all Buzzman was. There was no garage door in between, you know.
Yeah. I had been there a couple times, but it's like nobody knew. I mean, Chris has known me since I was like 13. I tried out for the Losers.
Oh yeah.
And the only reason I didn't get in is because they were like, "Dude, we're trying to go on a tour and shit. We can't take a 13-year-old on tour with the most beautiful losers." No, like, it's just bad. Something bad's gonna happen.
And that's part of what I'm saying too about thinking that the Bentleys own the name Buzzbin. Like, I thought it was a lot. I don't even need that. My bad. No, I have it. Fucking. I thought that they owned it a lot sooner than they did, and I found out that it wasn't until 2019. So I do give them a lot of defense, and in their defense, they definitely got fucked by COVID.
They got fucked by COVID. They got fucked by Mike. They got fucked by a lot of things. They got fucked by a lot
of people. And I think Kenmore is a good space for them because they're cleaning up the boulevard. That being said, I think Julia's right. Like, it's a kind of a small venue. There's not going to be like I Hate Gods or Four in the Strange Bands. There's not going to be like, you can't pack that many people in there. Then they say that's what the Rialto's for. The Rialto isn't much bigger, but
I mean,
I liked what they did for the benefit. The multi-day, the multi-stage, like back and forth, like.
Well, that's another thing is like for the big shows like that, that's gonna be where the bands do their merch is back on the backstage, and we're gonna build an outside stage. Basically, we'll probably try to have it done next summer is what I'm guessing, if possible, like financially and shit, because that's a lot of fucking lumber. Because we just gave that stage away. You gave the stage away to, and it's cool that the meadery does have it, you know. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is it was like Chris didn't have the means or the manpower to fucking get that fit. I had to tear the inside stage down, and that was freshly built. Not even a few months that it was in there. Yeah, it was a nightmare, dude. I mean, I've ran into fucking taking shit apart where like you get to a certain point and it's like, oh, now I gotta go from Phillips to a star bit. Bro, this was like there'd be two different fucking bits in the same piece of wood. The whole entire stage was like that. I literally, almost every single time I bent down, I had to switch the fucking bit out. After I fucking located the fucking screw and dug it out of the paint. It was nice to have a bigger stage, but damn, that thing really was ramshackle as fuck. Oh, yeah, there was a spot. When I was in the band, I always stood on the right side. Where the power rack was behind you? I was on stage right. Yeah. So I was power rack was right behind you? Yeah, power rack was right behind me. That shit was getting ready to just go right by dude. You know exactly what I'm talking about, dude. I took it apart, believe it or not. I swear to God, every time. And that's right where I put my cab, and I have the fucking 810 with the SVT, so combined, that thing is the better part of 200 fucking pounds, dude. And then I'm also standing on that spot, and every single time we had to play a show, I said something. I was like, you guys, like, this stage. Why don't you set your drum set up over here, buddy? Dude, this fucking stage is going to
collapse underneath of somebody, and you guys are going to be liable for it.
Here's the thing.
And it's right where they walked up, but hey,
well, the thing is it wasn't actually
until
like
it didn't.
collapsing. What it was like
it was a
the
big
floor
soft spot.
underneath the joists like went in like it was a big dip. So the joists would just bend in the middle a little bit, and it felt like it was like collapsing, but it was just kind of like, the joists were just slightly off the floor instead of where they were built. They ended up just having some give to them, but it felt like the whole thing was fucking moving because it's the whole joist going back to the wall. So it feels like you're going whoop, you know what I mean? Almost like a springboard.
All I can say about that is, if I would have jumped around just a little bit harder on that stage, I was very afraid I was going to fall through, regardless of whether it was still liable.
It was still liable to have some issues. Also, like that part wasn't. It was a little bit deceptive, but the stage still wasn't without its issues. Mm-hmm. But it was what it is. What it is. It worked.
Yeah.
And then one like Chris just extended the stage up there like a lot. Like basically, the stage goes all the way up to the bar. Like instead of you can't even go through the front door. Like that's the stage blocks it.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
I haven't been up there. So
funny, he just got that done. Man.
Funny.
It's sweet.
So I just agreed yesterday. He asked me to play the Halloween show, and because you were there at the bar yesterday when this happened, I talked to Julia, and he said he wants some variety, so I'm gonna show up and do some banjo and acoustic shit. I got a half hour, and then it'll be the Warthog and Ohio Sabbath, so that'll be cool. So I'll see it on Friday, or Saturday.
I love these basses, dude.
It's so nice.
And just yours plays a lot better than mine, because mine hasn't been set up in the string, like...
I'm telling you, bro, that is how I bought it, and I've now owned it for like 2 years or so now, and I never touch it either.
You have a very dry fucking environment wherever this is, if that's where you live. Like, it's very dry, because that's my problem is the last couple of houses I lived in were fucking... They were just always wet.
It's got a very low action, and it's got like light strings on it, but they're not as light as the one I just got. Because I got that from some chick. She was like trying to learn to play, and she's like, "Yeah."
And she picked up a 6-string bass.
Yeah, well, I traded her the Squire jazz bass that I got from your brother, which had like the oldest strings in existence.
Oh yeah,
like, needed a bad setup, and she's like, "Yeah, thanks." Like she was super excited.
Well, I mean, why did she get one of these?
I know she's never gonna see this, but yeah, I kind of fucked her over.
Oh, I mean, she was happy with it.
She was so happy with it.
That's what I'm saying. I don't.
You're not fucking somebody over if it's like
I do that all the time
between two people,
right?
And it's like
if I have if you have something that I want and you have, the price doesn't really matter unless it's like a very, very, very like.
I will say I fucked myself a couple of times because I really wanted something too. Mm-hmm. So
we all get fucked, and sometimes we fuck.
It's not like I gave her a bad bass. She just needed to set it up real bad.
Everybody's got to fuck sometimes. We get fucked enough.
So now I have a nice new second one of those. And so the thing is that I'm the guy who never changes his fucking bass strings, and I actually bought a set of pretty heavy strings for that because I want to set it down to like drop G, real fucking heavy and do like that tapping stuff. To be honest, I haven't picked up that bass in a while, so it's definitely a little sloppy.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm trying to do. But I'm trying to do like the slow like Bell Witch Doom style tapping and have it in a really low tuning. But I'm just really afraid that I'm going to fuck it up if I do it myself. Like you say, it plays real nice right now. I'm going to go put those heavy-ass strings and try and file the nut and adjust the action myself.
Dude, this is a double truss rod, like...
So the one that I just got, the girl who I got it from said that she was trying to get rid of it, not because it was too hard to learn on. That was one of the reasons, but the main reason...
hard to set up.
The main reason is, yes, it's too hard to set up, and she said that the guy she takes it to says that these guitars are prone to neck warps.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Because of movie changes,
Well,
truss
look
rod
how wide
adjustments,
it's a
whatever.
surfboard,
It's,
dude.
that's
There's
how
so
I describe
much,
it.
like,
It's a fucking surfboard of a neck.
Like, if it only had one truss rod in it, dude, it would literally just twist until it snapped. But that's what it does. My uncle even mentioned that when I first brought it to him. He was like, that's bizarre. Whoa. And I didn't tell him it was a double truss rod. He was like,
I did that. The one that she gave me didn't look bad. Then again, she did say that it had brand new strings, so it was probably just recently
adjusting
set up.
and shit.
It's probably just recently been set up. I don't play it often. Like I said, I don't even pick that one up very often. I brought my white bass, but you know, this one's just a little bit more versatile. But yeah, it's a beautiful bass, and it plays just so magnificently, and the action is just perfect for whatever I need it to be. And I just don't want to fuck it up, and I don't want to take it to someone for them to fuck it up too. I've taken a lot of guitars to get set up, and they just end up getting more fucked than when I brought them there.
I'll have to hook you up with my uncle because, dude, that's literally all he does. Like, basically how I sit here and do this. He's got a guitar workshop in his house. All he does, he builds guitars, he works on guitars.
Yeah, I need something like that.
And he basically, like, I mean, he'll probably charge you $20 or something, but he'll give it the works and like explain to you what's going on with it, what it's doing, and what.
That's a lot better than taking it to the music farm and paying like $70 or however much they fucking charge, and then you get it back and it's all fucked up.
Well, and the thing is when he gives it back to you, he's gonna tell you what the fuck happened, how to fix it. He doesn't expect you to really. He's trying to teach you how to do it yourself. It's not that he doesn't like doing it, but you know,
it's the
he's basically he's like, dude, it's not that hard. Just I'll teach you how to do it.
That's what I need, because I can restring the whole fucking guitar. It's just like, especially with a 6-string, it's getting down to then double truss rod adjustment, playing with the tension of heavier and lighter strings, and the intonation of the bridge. It's the really fine tuning shit that loses me.
He's got the tools to where he can measure like the curvature of your neck.
Does he have like one of those feeler gauges that you flip out like each one and slip in between the strings?
He's got basically a bunch of shit.
I need to get myself one of those.
And he this was one of the ones where he kind of got a little stumped because he'd never worked on a guitar like this before, and he was like, and looked up a couple things, and he was like, oh, okay, I get it, like, it's just a little bit different than what he's used to. Like I said, he's built them. He just had never worked. He was like, 6-string bass. Never really. He was like, I knew they were around, but I never really knew anybody that would want one. And he was like, why'd you get it? And I was like, it's a badass, bro. And he was like, I was like, it needs set up. And he's like, all right. And he said, yeah, we can actually get a little more jamming. I think I got one more in my wrist before I gotta fucking throw in the towel. Ouch. It's already so fucked up. So do you want to do the same thing? Just go kind of slower. Like, I can follow you. I can straight up follow you.
I'm actually just kind of following you. Like I said, I haven't picked this thing up in a while, so I'm a little sloppy. But I'm.
How do you feel about funk?
I can fuck it up.
You can funk it up? Because that's my favorite thing to do. Oh, shit, I forgot to
I'm about tired of hearing these niggas yapping. Always talking about.
Yeah, that's honestly like, I mean, you've seen me and my brother. Ooh. It shouldn't make you feel inferior because because the motherfucker has been doing nothing his entire life but sitting by himself. I traded him that fucking amp for those basses I keep talking about, dude. And I walked into his crib where he's staying. His little studio he's got set up. He's got like some he told me about using like a super old mixer. Yeah, I saw him using like 2 or 3 different old ass mixers. And dude. Keyboard and like he does this type of shit. Yeah, he had a flute and a fucking trumpet, just like Jay Chillin, and like several basses and his big fucking jazz box. Have you heard any of the like beats and like hip hop type shit he makes?
No.
Oh, bro, he's a fucking bad motherfucker when it comes to, I'll have to show you when we're done jamming. Like, dude, he's a bad motherfucker making beats, dude. And I just basically, I'd say probably about almost 6 months ago, he got a laptop to use, and I was like, dude, I got this fucking little 2-channel interface. Get yourself some microphones and shit, and I'll put Studio One on your fucking computer for you, so you can just do it yourself. You don't gotta worry about fucking my shit up, because I always tried to get him on my computers and let him do it, but he's and understandably he's like, I don't want to fuck something up. I don't know if there's a setting that I might think I'm doing something, which I get it. I appreciate it, but I was like, dude, no, I wouldn't put you somewhere where you could fuck something up, or I would just have a backup of before you fucked with it.
Absolutely.
Like I was like, this ain't my first rodeo, dude. I fucked up enough of my own shit to let you fuck my shit up. But yeah, I gave him one of my Studio One licenses, and I was like, dude, go ham. Like he was like, I don't know what to do, and I was like, just start clicking shit.
It seems like he is a very fuck around and find out.
Oh, very, dude. Like me and him all the time, we do weird shit. Last time he was here, we hooked up his sample pad to the EAD. So basically, I had my acoustic drums running into his sampler where he could have changed the effects and chop samples out of what I was playing, so I could play with my samples live. He was changing the beats with chopped up pieces of what I was already playing before.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
And changing,
so he's sampling it and
sampling
it
in real
time.
sampling it real time, and then making beats, playing beats with pieces of my beats, and we're jamming together, and he's just on a sampler, and he has control of all the effects going through my drums. So if he puts a bunch of delay, all of my drums get a bunch of delay because it's going straight through the sampler.
That's fucking awesome.
That's what's cool about this EAD is you can essentially send the whole drum set through one signal.
I've always one of the studio jokes that I used to make was we're just gonna drench the drums in reverb and delay, and we're gonna throw them through a few different crazy pedals.
Some shit happens, dude.
Just get some weird shit going.
I'll have to show you some shit when we're done jamming.
Oh yeah.
knows? It might have fucking booted us off an hour ago. Honestly, I wouldn't even know if there's anybody in the chat or anything right now either. That was fucking fun, dude.
Looks like it.
It looks like it. I'm sure you can see now why funk is one of my favorite things to do. Like, even if you don't necessarily just play funk, when you just say make it, do it. Let's do
when you can
funky.
just sit there and just be groovy.
That's what I'm saying. I'm a sucker for the groove, dude. The groove is like 90% of it for me, because that's why I like Pantera, because they were heavier than fucking. They played slower than any other metal band most of the time. Well, dude, like
I think that might be the only Pantera song I've ever played.
Fucking Domination, the end of it. Dun 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 dun. I mean, it doesn't get any really simpler or heavier than that. But then, like, you know, he comes in with that song. Like, I fucking love the end of that song. It's the perfect. Yeah, I mean, the whole end of that song is just it just oozes Pantera. That's like it was almost like that song Domination itself was almost like a culmination of all the shit they did really well. Like it pretty much had everything there. Yeah, dude, I mean, it's fun to play, like, don't get me wrong, I still enjoy playing metal and shit, but, like, I think maybe I'm just burned out. Dude, I've been in, like...
You've probably been in a bunch of metal bands, haven't you?
Well, I've been in a bunch of all kinds of bands, but it's all been metal for, like, the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, Make Good's the farthest thing from metal I've actually got to do, which is still pretty heavy, but it's a lot more, there's a lot more wiggle room to say it's not metal. You know what I mean? It does have a lot of metal characteristics.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't categorize it as metal necessarily. Maybe a subgenre, but it don't matter. I like the tunes, and you know, yeah, it's just super fun shit. And you know, it's slowed down to because like I said, the last 10 years it's been like basically death metal bands almost most of the time, and it was always like, I mean, you got to be on your shit, which I'm not saying you shouldn't be on your shit, but like,
oh yeah, no, that's
was so much more. I don't have to think about as much, so I can create a little more. You know what I mean? I have more room to like be creative because I don't have to think so hard about making sure everything's so perfectly on point. That, because dude, this Dee Dee song's like, if you fuck one little, if any three of us would fuck one thing up, it throws everything everything crumbles. And
it's one of those things that I kind of get, got a little thankful for just being like in a drone doom band that, plays 2 notes per minute. It's just,
and the thing is it's not even necessarily something about like.
I joke a lot. I have this fucking 6-string bass.
Oh, dude, you
I don't even use most of these strings.
Holy crap, my wrist is fucked, dude. Oh my god, this is not good.
What's worse, your wrist or your butthole?
Well, that's right now, or like, because I mean, it's my wrist for sure right now. My butt's pretty good.
I just
see it,
dude. I remember you were posting on Facebook like.
Oh, I sent this picture of my fucking hemorrhoid to one of the group chats.
I was close. You were really desperate to show somebody, and I was close, just being like,
oh, dude,
show me.
I was showing anybody who basically thought I mainly was doing it because a lot of people were just trying to call me out like you're full of shit. Like you, and I'm like, dude, I have the picture right here. I'll fucking show it to you. Like I have no shit. And mostly it was so I could show people what the fuck I was going through because people don't really fucking realize how bad that shit can get. That shit literally had me laid out for days. I couldn't move. Man, I'm so fucking mad I ain't gonna be able to play any music for like a week, dude, at least. Man, like, basically, the next time I play music would have to be Saturday if we end up doing something, but was that a no-go for me and you?
I'm guessing so.
Okay, that's probably for the better because I'm already fucked up and...
Are you working that night? Gotcha.
I'm doing running sound. Like, basically that's gonna be... I'm gonna be seeing if the shit runs correctly for like live stream shit because I'll actually not have to be playing on stage. Oh my god. Bro, my shit is fucked up. That was...
You guys are wearing a brace or something.
I mean, fuck, dude. You know what it is? It's fucked up. The way I've heard it, I was just sitting for hours in my basement. The way my table isn't ergonomic, so I was putting a bunch of pressure on my shit, sitting there moving the mouse around, and fuck that, like my drumming muscle up. Like, do you see it?
I was about to say, I could tell it looks like it's a little swollen.
Like, it's... When I got up this morning, I was moving my fingers around, and I could hear it creaking in certain spots. Which I don't know what that means, but... It means I can be calm the fuck down, basically.
Well, like I said, you're sitting there fucking chopping wood.
I can't help it, man. I said I'd go easy, and I tried to, but then, like I said, I don't feel it when it's happening. So, you know, I don't realize how much I'm hurting myself until it's over. But I could tell it was like getting really bad that I had to end it, because, I mean, dude, if my wrist wasn't fucked up, I could go all fucking night, you know what I mean? That's another thing I try to tell people about playing drums is like, a lot of people are like, how the fuck do you play for so long like that? And I'm like, number one, because I'm not actually just fucking slamming them the whole time. Every hit, you gotta be economical about your energy use. If you want to play an hour-long set of fucking crazy shit, if you don't pay attention to how much energy you're using, and that's why, like, when I go play a show or whatever, that's why I'm so meticulous about getting my kit put together right, because there's a reason everything's where it is, so I don't have to exert a lot of energy to get to it or do what I need to do.
You're not like, it's the same thing they tell you with guitar technique, like, don't move your fingers all the way out of the way.
Right, yeah, just shit like that. And
but you're doing whole movements.
Well, that's the thing is, like, the whole reason I set it up, because so I don't have to do whole movements, I can just kind of circles. Like, just, they all kind of can connect together. I don't really have to stop. There's no jarring, like, I have to, like, I can hit everything basically just comfortably without really having to move much. And that's the biggest thing. Like, if you got to turn to hit something in your kit, either, you know, that's something you're not going to use a whole lot, like a second floor tom or something. Like, yeah, that's cool if you have it tuned real sweet, or, you know, if you're going to utilize it, but otherwise, why even bring it? But for the main portion of your kit, if you're moving too much just to hit any of it, you need to readjust your ergonomics of your kit, because if those are the things you're going to be using all the time, they need to be in the right place. Like, that's why I'm so fucking anal about where my kick, my snare, and my hi-hat are, because you
can't expend any extra energy.
That's where most of your energy is going to go, is the kick, the snare, and the hi-hat. If any three of those are out of whack, I can deal with other things being a little fucking wonky, like crash cymbals, and, you know, maybe a weird position tom sometimes. But, you know, yeah, I am fucking picky, but that's because I need it to be like that, you know?
I appreciate, and I have for a while, when you get into a hobby so deep that you find yourself knowledgeable enough to have a preference of something. Music is a big one. I appreciated it most when I was riding BMX really heavily. Like, it's one thing if you have a passion for riding your bike. It's another thing if you have a passion for a very, like, specific subset. So, like, if you're one of those dudes who gets up in, like, the skin-tight fucking things and puts on the fucking goggles and, like, goes. They put on the Pit Viper glasses and they go out on the road on their like $10,000.
Oh, you mean like the Tour de France guys?
Yeah, those fucking guys. They're
Lance
just as
Armstrong.
passionate as the dudes who are out there in the skate park, like breaking their fucking feet doing stupid shit.
Right.
They're just as passionate as the dudes who are out there in the trails on their fucking mountain bikes. You know, but to be so deep into a hobby that you have a preference is something that it's the same thing. It's big with music.
Oh yeah.
You find out very quickly that you have a preference for how your guitar feels, how your drums feel, the amount of energy that you can expend while doing the
Everyone's
thing.
shaped different. Everybody plays different. But if you can't be comfortable playing your instrument, you're never going to play good. That's one of the biggest things I don't think people even think about. Like, that's one of the first things that should be taught. Like, you know, yeah, you don't want to make it like these arbitrary fucking lessons, but like when you sit with if I were to teach like a kid or, you know, a teenager how to play drums, I'd sit them down and be like, do you know anything yet? Or, you know, it's fine, we can start from wherever you're at. And basically the first thing I do is, this is how you play a basic beat. And 99% of the time they struggle with it because the kit isn't set up ergonomically. That's the first thing, because they can't, they have to think too hard about hitting shit.
I'm not a drummer, so
Go for it, bro.
I don't know what the difference is. No, I wasn't even gonna say that.
Oh.
It's just I see a lot of debate nowadays, all of a sudden, of having your like rack toms and floor toms or whatever all level and flat, or having them tilted.
It's a preference thing, I suppose, and a stylistic thing. If you want the drums, if you want the full tone and volume out of your drums, the flatter the better. It's just, you gotta make that shell shake.
It's like it's a resonance thing
You have
without being
the sound is
balanced,
coming from the
too.
shell resonating, like the heads, yes, but it's the air between the heads that's making that wood vibrate. That's where your tone comes from. The attack comes from the heads. The tone all comes from the wood vibrate, or whatever it's made out of, you know, the shell vibrating. And like when you hit it like this, I'll just show you real quick. I'm not hitting. Pretend like this is a square snare drum or a tom or whatever. Also pretend it was thicker, like, you know, like a tom. So say like this is the rim of it and this is the center. If you're hitting it like this, all the energy is being dissipated in that one little spot.
Yeah, but as it spreads out.
When you do that, it kind of like, it's almost like throwing a rock in water. It makes it all fucking, and that's, you can get different tones out of your drums by hitting different angles, deeper, shallower, and that's how it goes, getting those really weird snare hits, all super shallow rim shots. That's how you get that real crack out of it, but it's kind of like, it doesn't have a lot of body.
Yeah.
Because you're just shaking the shell but no head, so there's like, it's just a little bit thinner. But when you get everything shaken, or I guess you're only shaking one side of the shell.
Yeah.
You're only getting that one little spot, whereas you use the whole thing, use the whole shell. Something like that. I don't claim to be an audio engineer or an audio fucking
audio
scientist.
like physicist.
Yeah, physicist, that's the one. I mean, I try to fucking learn everything I can, and you know, there's a lot of shit that people don't even realize. Like, there's shit I've been wanting to do to the buzzbin. I used to work in the stagehand union, like basically setting shows up and tearing them down at Blossom and fucking the Quicken Loans Arena, Woolstein Center.
That's fucking cool. That's a cool job.
It was cool. It ain't a living, like, it's basically the best situation for it is like old retired dudes with nothing to do. And you know, it's really hard to come out of the stagehand union and get a career out of it. You just kind of like, you're just a hand. Sometimes you can, but it takes forever and you gotta pay a bunch of dues, and like, it's just not sustainable, especially for people like us.
Is it like 1099 work? Like subcontractor, or do you get like a W-2 from that? Or are you talking like under the table type pay?
No, it was legit. It was a union.
You said
It was weird because like every venue you worked at, you had to do another tax form. So it was weird, but it was cool though, because that's a lot of the shit that I'm doing at Buzzbin is shit that I learned from the professionals. I worked with them, like the guys that did the audio at fucking Blossom, that were the road guys, who literally would set all this shit up today and tear it down tonight and go set it up tomorrow and tear it down tomorrow. Giant, massive fucking sound systems.
They can put that stage and that sound system up in like 28 minutes flat.
I mean, dude, like, and that's the thing is, these guys were the real fucking deal, and it's not like oh, I was working with it, but you know, you're helping the dude get all these cable snakes, like fucking, you know, it's a whole road case with just a snake in it. It's like 100-foot snake, like that big around, with fucking like 160 fucking actual cables in it, and you got to run that 150 feet out of a fucking road kit, dude. It's like seriously like 500-600 pounds, some of those snakes and shit. Oh yeah, because they're going to a fucking 120 channel board or some shit, and you know, they're running, you know, I think it was something crazy, like 50,000 watt sound system, just the sound system.
I fucking believe it.
I can't, that might be a totally wrong number, but that's just the number that I feel like I remember. Either way, it's ridiculous. Nothing.
Well, and two, I mean, if you're talking about venues even remotely the size of Blossom, you're like, yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
You're talking like 20 fucking 30-inch subs. You know what I mean? Like, there's a whole power distro fucking, like, side of the stage where they just have power distributors and fucking amps and shit. Or, like, just whatever. I don't know the power side of it, that, like, especially to that degree. But, you know, either way, what I was saying is, like, I've learned a lot of, like, little tricks and shit from those guys to, like, make the whole thing easier. Better ways to go about doing things that you don't really, until you're on a scale like that, you don't really realize how much it helps all the way down the line, because you're not having to set up and tear down a fucking massive sound system every single day.
It gets you the experience of being able to you know, do
compartmentalize everything and make everything as super quick and easy to understand. Like, basically, you can have a crew of complete dumbasses and be like, see that one that has blue on it, plug that into the blue one. See the one that has pink on it, plug that into the pink one. Shit like that.
That easy.
Yeah, and like the one at Buzzbin, yeah, it's a personal thing, because, you know, there's just like playing an instrument, there's no wrong way to mix, like, especially live. It's a lot to do with preference. It's a lot of you know, everybody mixes a little bit differently. That's why every recording sounds different. There's no right way to do it or wrong way to do it. You just make it sound like the way you want it. And oh fuck, I got sidetracked. What the fuck was I talking about? God damn it! I got stoned.
Yeah, you have a thought.
There was something important there, but I lost it.
Something about everybody mixes different.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't know either. Oh, like there's certain... there's like techniques and shit that have you ever heard of a pink noise test?
Yeah.
Do you understand kind of what it's for and what it's doing?
Vaguely.
It's, and this is the layman's terms. Like, you know, obviously I can't explain it like an expert would be able to.
Yeah.
But essentially what you're doing is you're running pink noise and white noise. It's like if you look at it on a perfectly flat EQ, it should be pretty much all flat. It's on a real-time analyzer. It's just showing you, you know, what frequencies are going through the system. And when you use pink noise, it's got a little more low-end noise to it, because the low end starts getting funny. Like, the amplitude per octave drop like halves when you're going down, like lower octaves. So
this is like a wavelengths and frequencies type of thing.
Kinda like, it's more of like a it's more of like the electrical, how much power and shit needs to go through the amps to power the speakers to push those frequencies. Like, it's really fucking weird. Like I said, I don't claim to like fully understand it, but essentially you use pink noise because I think it has something to do with actually too how the human ear perceives the sound waves, just because, you know, the computer can tell us exactly what it is, but the way we hear it is different.
Oh yeah, the way that our eardrums, you know,
and just the way like some people hear, just like latch on to lower frequencies, whether they can hear them clear or not than another person, they just latch more onto those frequencies, like as a, you know, more of a mental thing, not as an actual your hearing ability.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
because even the fact that our ears hear things differently, you know, based on perception, you also perceive it in your brain differently as well.
Exactly. It's the information can be the same, but it's processed in a different way. It's a brain. It's a fucking stupid computer. It's a really stupid computer.
It's arguably the smartest computer.
Then why doesn't it fucking work?
Then why doesn't it ever fucking work?
What's going on, dude?
I have to bypass this thing, and I have a million fucking goddamn inputs, but they're all too low. You see, the housing for this requires I need a raised USB 28, which this thing has been, somebody shoved the fucking power thing into it and basically ruined it. So I've got it desoldered from the board. That was the easy part. You know, nice professional, desoldered, ready for a new piece, but it's got to be raised. Every fucking connection I have around here is literally board flush. I need, like, see how that, see, I tore this apart because see that part below it?
Because you can't solder it.
It looked like it was raised. No, yeah, if I solder that in, I'll go to put the housing back on, and it'll be fucking too low. And I know that she'll bitch if I fucking, you know, ruin the housing and shit, but it's like, hey, it's either that
Whose
or...
phone is it?
But no, it's fucking Ashley's at work.
Fuck that bitch.
Paying me.
Oh, fuck. Still fuck that bitch.
Oh, fuck that bitch.
You ever heard fuck you pay me?
Well,
Fuck you pay
I have another option, but the other lament I have is I don't have the USB to USB cord anymore because I cut that in half to use it as an extender.
Well, cut it again.
No, I don't know where. It was an extender. It's now gone. I don't know where.
It's gotten sucked up into the void.
Yeah, the void of the house. But no, I asked her if she used the USB port it has on here to maybe see if it'll charge. She said she did, but I'm thinking, who the fuck has a USB to USB anymore? Like a regular, like this, that would go to another one that, you know, like
Isn't that just a female?
That's a female, but I need a male-to-male like USB so I can plug
Oh
in a
yeah,
power
yeah, I
source.
see what you're saying. Yeah, that's
Right, and check this out. Insult to injury. Fucking the battery on here rated at 8,000 milliamps. A phone's battery, like the good phone batteries are like 3,000. Look at the size of those fucking shocker. It's actually the molding goes down to there.
Oh yeah,
so
there's subwoofers in there, bro.
Yeah, well, that's the cool part.
Well, I guess they're not really subs, but
very straightforward
woofers.
connection. I love it. That much
They usually
power.
are.
No, that much power, and that's your mini connector. I've seen fucking
hot, cold, and ground.
Well, yeah, but the mini connector's pissing me off because it's like that should be way more substantial. I could plug it right into a motherboard, but the pins are too long. No, because if I plugged it into the motherboard, it would have the power regulator because it was thinking it was a fan.
Right.
I wouldn't blow it up or anything, but I
Well,
could
it
at least
would
charge
probably-
the battery.
I was gonna say it wouldn't push those woofers, but it would charge the battery.
And then I found this motherfucker, all right, which I was just going to do a bypass because it's got the triple. You know, it would fit, but
No,
oh no, you know what? This takes a certain input. You know, it has to go through a USB charger. This outputs at 47 fucking volts. This is a 3.5 amp, 3.5 volt limit.
Promise me, if your hair ever turns white, you'll just let it grow out a little bit longer and just keep it unkempt because this one's like you literally kind of remind me of a little bit of Rick right now.
Well, dude, no, I have like 50 fucking different things I could do for it, but nothing matches up. It's pissing me off. And then I'd like, this is the fucking completely done Xbox controller. Everything's flush. Every goddamn thing's flush to a board.
Well, they had to stuff it up in there. What's that say? Oh shit, I mean, we've been going for an hour and 41 minutes. I'd say that we can call it and just kind of chill for a minute and, you know, say all the shit we've been trying not to say, you know, in the public. I know. Yeah, man. Thanks for coming and jamming with me.
No problem.
Fucking,
Anytime. I'm looking for any excuse I can to play music. Because I don't just sit and do it in my own house anymore.
You and me are on the same page right now. I mean, I don't know if anybody's even watching it, but you're playing at Buzzbin Saturday, right?
Yeah, I'm playing at Buzzbin this Saturday.
Yeah, you gotta do your plug.
29th.
Yeah, gotta plug yourself, bro.
Oh, I've got nothing to plug.
What's your website? What's your social media? You gotta
I
plug all
am
of
the
it.
plug. Hit my line. I got...
Well, go to see him.
got
I'll be
pretty
there
good
running
plug.
sound, so we'll both be there. I'm pretty sure. And hope all of it fucking worked, because I haven't been able to. I still can't monitor my shit.
Yeah.
But for the time being.
I'll always be baffled. How do they get fucking sound out of that? Like,
But I guess we'll see.